President of the South African Local Government Association, SALGA, Mr. Bheki Stofile. Thank you so very much for coming to the CheckPoint podcast. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us, and greetings to you and to the entire populace of South Africa.
A trend has emerged in South Africa that is very worrying in the lead up to elections. Is pre-election season killing season?
It's to us. It's what we know. In 2016, it was at the time when the killing of councillors were very fashionable. To a point that in 2018 we commissioned a study to look into the magnitude of the task that we are confronting. And in 2019, I was then interviewed, and in that interview, I then said, what we are seeing emerging is a killing of councillors, killing of municipal officials, and we are anticipating that it will then spread to traditional leaders and magistrates and judges, and which our anticipation in 2019, it became true. And of course, we linked this deeply because our worry as local government is that, or we describe local government as your legs. And you can imagine the weight that is carried by your legs. Your entire body is carried by your legs. And if your legs then are overburdened, then there will be no way your legs will take the whole body to the destination that it wants to go to. And this is the issue that we have raised back then. So to us, it's not really a new thing, and I think you'll know, and I know because it's happened to councillors, and councillors, their life is less important generally to public people.
Why do you say that?
I will come back to that. At one point, the Auditor General was stationed in eThekwini, and Auditor General cried so loudly when her staff was threatened and many other things, and only then people then became or draw lessons about the situation that local government system is placed to. So.
You've mentioned, Mr. Stofile, many role players here. Are you linking all of these killings to elections? Or local government?
No, generally the killings, the point that I'm raising is that the killings is when there is an absence of leadership responsibility in protecting society. And then local government becomes, a guinea pigs generally, because local government is seen to be, or it is understood to be a closest sphere to government, where all bad or good things had to start and begin there, so that people get experiment. And then the point that I'm raising is that when we identified this in 2016, we told the nation that if there is no intervention on this matter, it's going to spread. That's what we told the nation. And unfortunately, 2016, 2018, we conducted a study.
Yes. I want to know firstly what the study told you about the situation in 2018.
The study told us a number of things, and that is why we use those things into Merana Commission. One of the issues, it was one, the intra and inter-party differences that emerged and threatened the current sitting councillors at that time.
So party members fighting amongst themselves?
Partly, yes. The intra-party dynamics. So that's what we surfaced. The other thing that why you're asking me, I'm linking this all together, is the criminal element that has grown. Because you mustn't discard it in the broader looking into how did the development took place. In the process of this development, it attracted unintended consequences. And in that case, that is why some of us in local government, what is happening in Madlanga, it's a reflection of what we said in 2019 anyway, and in so far as those issues
so
are
the
concerned.
criminalizing of politics It's basically what it is.
Exactly. In fact, I want to say, in the process of politics, there are two things that came in. One of things, it's a monetary interest that has grown. The second thing, which is the second leg, is then to criminalize the process so that you can have an access to politics and therefore have an access to resources. So the matter is, it's so huge to local government practitioners. In fact, by the way, I've written a paper, I think in 2022, where I was saying, as much as we are calling as local government, and everybody, including yourself in media, you're talking about professionalization of local government, and we are laughing at you. Because who is this professional that is going to go to local government if you don't create conducive, safer environment for the local government practitioners to operate without a due influence, without a pressure? I mean, I said to you earlier on, local government is like your legs. Your pressure of your body is felt by your legs. I mean, in municipalities, it's fortunately you are sitting here with me. I'm going to appear in TV tomorrow. Go to one municipality, and I will ask you to go to a municipality where there's a critical, intimidatory processes. And you see yourself, the environment, where municipality in session, it's not like in parliament. I mean, municipalities are operating in a community where, when they are in session, processing fundamental issues and expenditure. And if an individual is looking to benefit out of that individual, he's sitting in the crowd there. And whoever votes against that individual is going to be eliminated. So the local government killing, it has become, or has been normalized in our society. I mean, look at how Makakla was killed, and many of them that have been killed. Look, Bombat in Mpumalanga, how he was killed. And unfortunately, you don't get swift response from government, because local government life is nothing. I mean, many of those that are performing.
Why do you say that?
It's because it's proven by the historical conduct of killings of councillors, and none of anyone that has been brought to book, including matters that have been brought to real authorities. So authorities, it means the South African Police Services. I mean, if you read the law, the law says, when you appoint me to be a minister today, after the president has declared me and I took a sworn in and I signed, an SAPS is waiting for me to protect me. When a mayor is sworn in to be a mayor, he must vouch for himself. There must be a risk assessment that must be made. But the mayor is more exposed to risk, because you are taking millions and billions, allocate it into a road infrastructure or a construction development in an area. That is why you see the emergence of construction mafias. Because as a country, we don't take local government as an important sphere of government that we must at all material times jealously protect, defend. And of course, quell on the wrongs, because in the back of a potato, there will be one or two potatoes that are rotten. Of course, it will happen. We are living in society. But the way that we are not focusing on local government, we see local government as a football that must be kicked around. Anyone who wants to distrust, find an opportunity to kick the ball called local government. And in that way,
and when you say we, who do you mean society? Do you mean government? Do you mean national government? Do you mean the president? Who's
everybody,
kicking local government like a football?
I'm saying everybody. Let me make you an example of why I'm saying everybody.
Yeah.
You have learned just recently of a house of a mayor in Lisiti municipality was burnt down. 2 citizens, they have lost their life in that process. And the Constitution of the Republic speaks about Section 154 of it, that the other spheres of government, which is these other spheres, it talks about province and national. must support the local government.
Yeah.
But what we are seeing currently, generally, masole amili ayajana, because the other spheres of government sees no role but to blame the local government. And you in society, you don't ask them. But when you elected or when you go to elections as different political parties, you form a government called a local government. You made a commitment to us that you are going to support them. Now you allocated them only 9% of your total fiscus. And then they must spend that
They
9%.
must raise the rest.
Where will they raise it?
From
when the
people, from us.
Exactly.
Who are not working.
And you are not working. You are not able to pay. But the government and society doesn't see that. The government says, no, we want our service. Government says, no, well, you don't spend. So I'm saying the auto-deficiency syndrome, we are in that situation in our state, in the Republic. And therefore, what do you then expect not councillors to be taken as soft targets?
Okay. Are too many people benefiting from the status quo to do anything about it?
What we are seeing emerging is we are emerging towards a mafia state. As long as the government, and now I'm talking about the government, all of us in the three spheres of government, the local, the provincial, and national, sees reasons why they should and must collaborate and why they were formed to collaborate. That's one part. But the second part, remember, you've got, you produced in the recent elections, currently you've got about 87, 81 coalition government. So you bring two different or many different political parties with different interests. And then you assemble them, but you also allow as citizens, in a coalition government, you allow political parties to discuss who must be a mayor, who must be a mayoral committee outside the legal instrument. Now, when that mayor is supposed to play an oversight to his executive, and the executive don't care about it, it accounts to a political party outside in council, and you blame the mayor. And this is what hurts me most, because a coalition, if you read our rules and law, the council appoints a mayor. A mayor appoints a mayoral committee members. Now, in the situation of coalition, political parties sit in the corner, and I use it my own language, sharing the cake. Kamina kawena, and so on. And expect a service delivery. I mean, guys, where are we and what we are doing as society? And as society, you put a blame to that poor mayor. Of course, you have elected a particular party. In the process, when wrong things happens, no political party that is in coalition takes responsibility. A mayor is forced to take a responsibility. I mean, a mayor, an individual, is forced to take a responsibility.
But how do we change that system? Because we vote for parties in South Africa.
Exactly.
Yeah, we vote for political parties.
Exactly.
They take our votes and then they do whatever they want with
Exactly.
them.
And you fail. You conclude that chapter. You vote for party, but you fail to hold the party accountable. Because when you give a power, you must also have an instrument to make that power to account to you, and which is unfortunately what you do as a society ultimately. You give that power and close your eyes. And somebody that is appointed as a
Until another 5 years.
Exactly. That is the problem. Whereas you
so
can
what
use...
must we be doing
you can use...
between elections?
You can use...
Because the public feel the only way they can hold a party accountable is by withholding their vote or giving it to somebody else.
Probably that what you believe it can be the easiest way.
Give us other options.
The law, it gives us instrument of holding each and every person in a case of municipality accountable through public engagement and petitioning that the communities, it needs to petition those that are responsible. And those that are responsible in the eyes of law is those that are appointed as councillors.
Many of them do petition to their councillors.
Yes.
And they feel unheard.
A single councillor. I know many political parties will say, I'm walking in the pothole here. If I was a councillor, I would do this. It's because the person doesn't understand the operations.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, yeah.
A single councillor cannot make any change.
Yeah.
A single councillor must bring that change into the council.
Yes, but
Okay.
that's why communities petition them.
Exactly.
You go there, you're
Exactly.
representing me,
Exactly.
and these are my needs.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then part of those needs are captured in terms of your IDP, because it should be captured in terms of your IDP unless it's a new thing that emerges. But the point that I'm
You
making...
don't participate in IDPs.
No, you don't. I mean, that is why if you read Justice Koen, he made it a point. In fact, Justice Koen, in his judgment, he's saying, municipalities, I know that society doesn't know what is your function, but spend money on educating them. So that they must understand.
They're part of their own developmental plans.
Exactly. That's what Judge Koen, if you look and interpret in detail what he's trying to communicate to public. Because he said there, and I believe as a human being himself, he's so devastated by situation of a gap between what is known by government and what is known by public. And that is why he then says, spend money on educating society so that they develop to understand the system. We must always remember the instruments that are made to empower us. But the question is, do we have a knowledge so that we can ask right and correct questions?
And go to the correct places.
Exactly, and go to the correct places.
You mentioned when I asked you about whether this is a season for killing, you mentioned councillors, municipal officers, traditional leaders. I want you to take me step by step. Why would somebody want a councillor dead? What is your research and what you've looked at telling you?
There is this myth, it's a myth, that a councillor has a control of R1 billion. There's a myth. It's a lack of understanding. In fact, by the way, it's now shifted. Of course, it was focusing to councillors because the myth says they've got power. Now it's shifted, it goes to municipal administrators. Okay.
So you're saying that people are being murdered due to a lack of understanding?
I won't say entirely. It's informed by interest of proximity to either the influential elements being power and resources. And this is made by the lack of political understanding to those that are contesting elections.
But you're saying it's a myth.
And the myth that I'm saying is that it's a myth to believe that a councillor, it can be a stamping block into your business interest. It's a myth. Councillor.
That they can be a stumbling block.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
that's part of the reason, some of the reason that they're being killed.
Yes.
Is that you're taking this person out of the picture.
Yes.
Because they are going to inconvenience your trajectory.
That's your myth that you live with. But it's because it's either you understand. Remember these things, madam. They work in both ways. They work. If we are a councillor, that you are doing what you're supposed to do, ask a right, correct, penetrative questions, you might be perceived by others as a stumbling block. Because the belief in communities is that the councillor must be according to what I've been told I must do it. But the reality of the matter is that if a councillor is asking or is perceived by public that the councillor is a stumbling block by a line of questioning of a particular process to arrive to a decision, that person, it become a problem. If this person is perceived, because remember these things are working in different ways, if this person is perceived that he winged more power and influence to the collective. Now, if he has that more power and influence, the reality of the matter, my personal selfish interest, it won't go through. And it become a stumbling block. So it's a different ways of looking into a councillor as a threat.
So majority of this is happening within parties.
Some are facilitated within parties, some are facilitated outside based on the interest. Remember, parties are also formed by politics and finances. So both of these are power broking processes.
A report that was compiled by the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime, who noted over 100% increase in political targeted killings in South Africa over a decade. And they say that the masterminds and the hitmen who carry out these orders appear to be emboldened by the minimal repercussions of their actions and the dwindling public outcry. We are not concerned as the public about the deaths.
Society became, don't care, I mind my business. Okay, that is a reality. And we must invest into the new generation because what has gone through the window, Ubuntu, okay, we became animals to ourselves. That is why you will walk on the street, somebody is robbed daylight, and you are minding your business.
When councillors report threats, or anybody in local government, what happens?
I think that one you must ask Minister, the acting minister, because councillors are in all the cases where councillors have been killed, they've reported the case to police, and nothing that happens. Instead, you'll get a political answer, because the point is that you report a matter to police, and you are reporting it because the security system must find a way to respond. But we must not lie to ourselves. We are threatened when it comes to intelligence collection in the country. And that is why individuals, they do as they wish in the country at any time because we have been weakened. Probably it's what now is revealing into the public.
So in the lead up to the November elections, what can be done? I mean, we've already seen killings. What do we do?
Look, there is discussions currently led by COGTA in this. Of course, a committee that has been established by the President called Inter-Ministerial Task Team, looking into that, dealing with the number of plans insofar as how to respond to this possible threat of escalating killings and so on. Because we also anticipate that the 2026 elections are not going to be just like any other elections, because as a country we have surpassed the inequality level of the globe with regard to inequality. So countries is not equal. And the starving is very high, and the unemployment is also very high, and unfortunately
more unequal than previously.
Yes,
more unemployment than previously.
Yes. So you are seeing possibilities that going into these local government elections is going to be tough
So
because
the stakes are the highest they've been.
There
Apartheid South Africa.
I mean, you can see, you must ask IEC how many parties that have registered. Because in their mind is that through electoral processes and employment. Because running away from the captured environment of number of, or statistical environment where people are unemployed. So yes, the stakes are going to be high, and the political tempo and temperature is going to be not to be the same as the previous elections.
Should we prepare ourselves for more deaths?
We should prepare ourselves for how do we then respond to that, and unfortunately, those that are assigned with the responsibility to do that, which is the state, it should be more 10 times prepared than what we are at now, at the situation where we are.
But not
because
just for election day, in the lead up to elections.
Exactly, that is the issue. That is the issue. A councillor that is killed, that is looking after 10 family members, it's a devastating situation. And it's a very bad situation for the economy, and it's a very bad situation for the nation. And as we attempt and we call ourselves, we are a nation builders. So this killing of councillors is so devastating to their families. I mean, you can see the different councillors that we have buried them over the last couple of years, and look into their families today. It's so bad.
You've explained the councillors, the municipal officials, traditional leaders. Why are they a target?
It's just like why the judges are a target is because they are presiding over a dispute and adjudicating over a dispute that affects the interest of accumulation and the interest of peace. So as traditional leaders, remember our traditional leaders, they were born to lead our society and manage the contradictions of society. And part to that is to create peace amongst the citizens and his followers. And at that time, remember I said earlier on, unfortunately our environment, it has been joined by unintended consequences. It's like when you open a window in your house because you want the fresh air, you only realize that mosquitoes comes in. This is the situation that we're facing today. So traditional leaders, as they are actively playing a role in building society, in building communities, in building their communal land, and learning and teaching people how important to share, it's not everybody that is interested to that, because he sees the endowments in that traditional leader area as the benefit for individual that it might just go and grab. So it's a plethora of issues that is confronting our society. But what is bad to us as a government, we are unable to protect the very good society that we are having and do everything in our power in making sure that traditional leaders themselves, they must be also protected in doing their work in building nations in the Republic.
South Africans, just ordinary citizens, don't feel protected. So I guess it goes across the board. It doesn't matter who you are. Maybe our ministers are the most protected humans in the country.
Remember, a councillor doesn't come out of the tree. It comes out of the womb of a person. He lives in a community. He's a member of the entire establishment community. So a loss of life, it shouldn't be looked on the basis of what position the individual occupies in society. Because government, it must protect each and every citizen, because that citizen is paying services to government.
But that's why the killing continues.
It
Because people
will
get away with it, right?
It will continue, because why it will continue is because, madam, where you come from, I will assume that you are coming from an urban area. In your house, you've got a fruit tree. And the fruit tree that it produced your house, it's fruit that you wanted at the time when you planted that tree. And how did you arrive to that? What type of fruit that you want? It was to inject and tamper with the taproot, so that the tree, it must produce the fruit that you have. So if you don't tamper with the system that's supposed to provide protection, governance, you may go to church every day and pray, but there's nothing that is going to happen. So what has happened in society, in today's government, is criminal elements have tampered with the taproot of state. And that tampering, now we are seeing these results outside.
We're seeing the fruit.
We are seeing the fruit of what we have tampered, what we have done. So the point that I'm making, as much as we may have all the blames about whatever and whoever, but if as a state we are not organizing ourselves in a manner that we're ideally formed for, and we begin to pigeonhole our operations, don't expect good. because the state itself is unable to coordinate its operations. You know? So, yeah, I think to me, the most important thing is that the state must remember. I must remember, because when I talk about the state, I'm talking about myself as a councillor, as an instrument of state, must remember that I, as a person, I will never succeed to deal with the complexities of challenges that our people are facing. But the state as a whole, those that are in the political office, those that are in administrative office, as a whole, must learn to work as a single unit to intervene on challenges that people are facing.
Mr. Stofile, thank you so very much.